This is StoryHive On Location Kamloops. We are at the Stínesten Gallery in Kamloops with Shay Paul.
Hello, hello.
I'm Todd Sullivan. This is Kelsey Bell. Tell us all about the details of this. This is fantastic.
So I am the project director of the Indigenous Resurgence Project, which is an Indigenous-based arts collective that operates here in the Kamloops area and the kind of greater Kamloops territory. And this gallery is definitely a long time coming.
Yes.
As an artist myself, I'm always looking for spaces and chances to participate and opportunities, so I wanted to provide that space to have an Indigenous-focused art gallery here in Kamloops. And here we are now, after, I want to say collectively, probably about 6 years of work. And I think this last year definitely kind of pushed us into almost like a new level or a new bracket. So before it was more low-key, more special events, kind of pop-up and things that were scheduled every once in a while just to engage people and bring people in and kind of get them used to like participating in things. So that's built up a bit. Our network built up a bit, and I think like earlier this year we hit our capacity at the way that we were currently operating, and the need for physical space and to really grow into like that next level that was starting to like, we were getting to push up against that wall where we needed to make those next steps. And so now here we are.
How hard was it to find a space?
It was a journey. So I wasn't even fully thinking about this at first. Like a gallery, I just needed an office space for a bit. I was like, I work from home, so I have a home office. So having all these meetings with people, I'm very involved in the community, and having these meetings with other arts practitioners and other organizers from other areas in Kamloops, it was like I needed a space to host those meetings. Yeah. So I was kind of digging around to see what I could do. I was looking, for office space just to have somewhere to gather that I could go into on a more permanent basis. So my first step was the Kamloops United Church, because they have donated space to me over the years for different pop-up events. So I've done at their downtown location on St. Paul, before the fire, I did concerts there. I did a fashion show there, an Indigenous fashion show. We had pop-up art exhibitions. We had community like potlucks with the artists. That was something that, at the very least, the price range was always accessible, but at the same time, more often than not, they were donating the space to me for free to operate, because I was a community-based organization. I say that loosely because I'm not yet an organization, but as a community member trying to support Indigenous artists, they just really liked what I was doing and they wanted to support me.
Nice.
So I'd approached them about the office space, and the administrator there was like, I have an idea, but I have to go and talk to some people first. So some time passed. We both were busy a little bit.
Like months, weeks?
Yes, a few months, a couple months. And when she did come back to me, she was like, I've talked with some of the other people in the church and our committees and our boards, and we have this space on the North Shore that we're not utilizing. We would like to donate that space to have you be able to open a gallery.
That's amazing. So currently you're open.
Yes.
Yes. Is today a significant day for something?
Kind of. So we had our grand opening last weekend. So today is another sort of open house style. But it's also our neighbors next door. It's the Mount Paul Community Food Center. And also the indoor farmers market. So the indoor farmers market runs from 10 to 2, and I have worked with the farmers market through other areas of my life over the years, and food security and food sovereignty. So I know all those fellas over there, and
that's amazing for both. Like your audience or your clients brings business to them, vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's just more stuff to check out. So, you go to...
Without having to like drive all over the place.
Exactly. So, go get your produce from the farmer's market, and then when you're done, kind of meander around to the other door that's around the side of the building, and here we are.
Cool.
But this space, for those of you watching from home who haven't been in here, it's quite small. It's great as a place to start out, but...
So it's not your permanent home?
No, we're hoping to build off of this. This is a great way to test things out. This is I've been kind of referring it to like an incubation lab for myself and also for other artists to just test out, because one of the main goals that we have is to support people who don't have a lot of experience in the professional art scene or dealing with galleries. So we want to provide an opportunity that's a little less intimidating. The space is a bit smaller. They don't have to fill up as much of the wall space. And it's an opportunity for them to really kind of experiment and see what it's like to operate on a professional gallery standing without maybe the intimidation of being in that professional space.
So you're looking for Indigenous artists?
Yes.
You're always looking for more?
I mean,
like
I know
you'll never say no.
There's so many that I know that I'm not familiar with. So I'm also a researcher. That is my academic background is in sociology and research.
Damn, woman.
Yes. So I did actually a research paper that was a part of my community engagement kind of outreach at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And reaching out to different artists and to see what the vibe was, basically. I'm hoping to really make this more of a professional sort of organization. I want to apply for nonprofit status and have all of that. So having all of the work and the strategic planning and the community engagement and the outreach early on really helps build that foundation moving forward. And so all of that background research, it's like, it really puts into perspective what people need and what people want. And so building into that is super important. And one of the things I found out is in that kind of background digging, the population or the Indigenous population in Kamloops is majority urban Indigenous. So that means that people have traveled from other nations, other parts of the country, other provinces, whether they were born here with ties to other nations or relocated. That's the majority of the Indigenous population. It's not tied to surrounding nations. It's not tied to Kamloops, to Secwepemc. Okay. There is a majority of urban Indigenous folks here. And I see that you're holding the brochure that I have, and it's actually one of the panels inside shows a kind of snippet of the cultural identity.
Can I show it?
Yes, please do.
Are you talking about this?
Yes, yes. So
go ahead and just describe what I'm showing.
Yeah, so this this graph here is depicting the cultural identity of artists that participated in our annual group exhibitions.
I'm sorry, I'm shaky.
And it really shows that, yes, we have a large section of Secwepemc artists, but there's also, when compared to the rest of the graph, it is quite small compared to the identities of artists who are from other nations. So when you asked, am I looking for more artists? I am, because I know that they're out there, and I just know that I haven't met them yet.
How do you find new artists besides, internet and, do you maybe travel to other towns and go to markets and stuff? Oh,
I'm hugely involved in the arts for sure. So you can catch me at all sorts of different art openings and things and celebrations and events. But also, Kamloops is very word of mouth. I'm sure you guys know this, and I'm sure people watching kind of feel that.
We are the word of mouth, basically.
Exactly. That's a number one probably question that media has been asking me about this gallery is like, oh, well, how can people support it? Like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, literally just tell people that there's an Indigenous art gallery now. Mm-hmm. Like, because that's going to be the biggest hurdle moving forward is just getting on the map.
Right. Yeah,
so the best thing that people can do for me and do for this gallery is let other people know, hey, did you hear that there's a new gallery open? And looking at the current state here in Kamloops, there's very limited gallery opportunities too. Although there's been more community level galleries popping up, like Old Federal Studios, fantastic.
Yes.
There's galleries at 645. I might be getting my numbers backwards there, but it's down on Victoria Street. And then our two major galleries, the Kamloops Arts Council and the Kamloops Art Gallery. So there's very limited space, and even then it's dependent on what their capacity is, what their intakes are, if they're even doing intakes. I know that the art gallery down at the TNRD building does internal curation, so there's not an application that people can just submit to. So
I'm not really familiar with, the number of galleries that are in sort of other cities of this size. Is Kamloops a little bit behind in that sense, or?
I think it's not that we're behind. I think that there's more demand for what we're able to give.
Okay.
So I think
because of the space, or
yes, we've seen an influx, I believe, especially over the last few years, that there's more art happening, there's more arts events, there's more arts and culture sort of festivals. There's more art in Kamloops, or at least it's now coming out to the forefront a little bit more than it used to be. And we don't have the structures or the systems or the supports in place to accommodate that influx right now.
What would be some of the things that you would like to see expand, or how would you like to see it develop over the years?
Of course, the dream is I want my own Arts and Culture Center. That's like my 10-year vision.
What would that be like? Like workshops, classes?
I've always considered it a threefold opportunity. So 1/3 of it would be gallery exhibition space like this here, where people can get that hands-on skills. 1/3 of it would be to gift shop or sales to support local, authentic, handmade crafts and products. Because if one of the many hats that I wear and the many backgrounds in my academic kind of career is I'm into tourism as well. So I'm looking at it from a tourism perspective. And we don't have a lot of Indigenous tourism in Kamloops, and I can count on one hand how many places you can go to get Indigenous crafts.
Wow.
And on less than a hand on how many places you can get authentic local Indigenous crafts.
That's surprising.
Yes.
The inaugural exhibit here it's all just a single artist. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think she's here.
I think she's here.
This is our beautiful artist, Gina. You memorized her last name?
Bussidor?
Yes.
Yes, I remembered. Oh my God, I'm so terrible with names. Welcome. Congratulations on your exhibit. How, between you guys, tell us the story of how this came to be, how you came to sort of be the first artist showcased here.
We were just meeting up for coffee. And we were just sitting down talking, and we were talking about working and trying to get this gallery off the ground. And I was like, oh yeah, I have this cool idea. I think one day I'd like to try to do for an exhibition. I keep thinking of telling you about it, but I keep forgetting. So I'm like, I'm going to tell you now before I forget. And then you're like, I really like that idea. She's like, let me think on it a little bit more, because I think you were thinking of having some potentially other things lined up and working on. So yeah, it was really cool.
I actually had the first show booked back in July, and we were going to open in September. I was working with a local artist, and he had just moved kind of to Kamloops more permanently earlier in the year. That artist, his name was Johnny Bandura. he tragically passed away at the end of July, completely unexpected. And so that was also an artist that I think his work was really important to sort of the story of what Stínesten Gallery was going to be. Yeah. His was quite prolific. He was always pushing the pencil when it came to people's comfort when viewing artwork. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of hurt and anger about what it was like being an Indigenous person and surviving with intergenerational trauma. And his artwork that we were going to have here, it was called the Eye Collection, and it was about witnessing. And it was quite a, like I said, prolific exhibition. And I was looking forward to really working with him on that. And I do plan to have that sometime in the future. It was just, it had a lot of work with the curation behind it, because he had 120 pieces, which is way more than this gallery could fit. So we would have had to hand curate and put a lot of work into the display of that. So I do
that's
hope.
So hard.
Yes.
What
and
crazy way to start.
Yes. So trying to find a way to bounce back from that and find another artist. And it did really work. I had a couple options, but I think when I was thinking about how I wanted to open the gallery and the feeling that I wanted, Gina's exhibition idea felt the best. Like it fit.
Like a breath of fresh air sort
of thing? It was like a breath of fresh air. And on many, many different areas, I think this ended up being the perfect exhibition.
Good.
And the fact that Gina is an urban Indigenous artist from another place in Canada, that her artwork doesn't maybe fit the traditional expectation that you would think of walking into a gallery, that the way that we approach this exhibition isn't maybe comparable to other galleries. Like it was all tone setting. And there's, as you said, like a breath of fresh air when it comes to this.
Yeah.
And
following tragedy, like
you can feel the passion and the appreciation in this exhibit and in this work. It's very grounded. It's very personable. It's relatable. And that's been the consensus that I've been talking with when people come in to see the exhibit. It's that they can relate to it. Mm-hmm. And that something in here, as they're walking around the room and following the story, that they connect to. And they feel it not just, as an attendee coming to view this, but like they feel it in their heart when they come through. And I think that's the most important thing when talking about opening this gallery and setting the tone.
Can you maybe walk us through what the story is, as well as sort of like how this might be perceived as maybe different from what most people would expect from Indigenous art? And I think Kelsey probably is desperate to get up and move the camera around in a circle, as she likes to do every episode. So how did this project start for you? Like what drew you to telling this story, defining the story?
This story is of when I went back up to Nunavut, which I had never been to before. But it was a land-based activity camp that my band was putting on. So we were spending about a week out just on the land, and we were literally dropped at the location by a float plane.
Oh wow!
And then we set up our tents, and we were just kind of blessed to be there for the
Oh wow!
It kind of tells the story about my experiences in Edahan, reconnecting to the land, and just taking the time to actually try to learn a little bit more about my own culture, hear the stories, be surrounded by people and just have that sense of community as we all try to kind of find this connection. And so that kind of goes around to about around here. And then I do talk about how like I return north quite often in different times of my life, going through different just everyday struggles. Sometimes it's good to take that break, and I always found myself going back up north. So it also kind of talks about why did I decide that I always needed to go back up north, and what drew me there. So there is another like couple photos from one of my other trips up there, also just talking about some of the cool stories.
So what is it that draws you north?
I've always just felt like called to go up there, and when I go up there, it feels like a connection, like being to a place that feels like home, even though I've not necessarily like ever lived there.
Yeah. Is it often like an experience of trying to see what maybe, your relatives, your ancestors had maybe their experiences were like, or?
Yeah, it's that, and also like for me, like this just being like the disconnect. Like it's very remote.
Yeah.
Being able to have that as an opportunity in Canada, like I just feel like it's really important for us to also explore the different lands here in Canada that we have, because we have so many provinces, so many territories. They're all unique, they're all different, and I really just connected with being up there and seeing how the different ways you can live up there.
Yeah. Is it challenging to come from an environment where everything is sort of very connected and we're staring at our phones all day and everything else, and to go someplace that remote and disconnected?
I think that's always been the draw. Like I'm not a very big social media or a connected person on the phone. I do find that it is a struggle, being my age, that I actually feel disconnected from people in that sense.
Sure.
So for me, going up here is like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. And so I think I'm trying to also just bring that across a little bit as well. This is really important experiences to kind of take the time to disconnect from all the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite experiences that you've had while you were up there?
I think I really enjoyed just being around the fire with everyone. It was really cool. Just at the end of the night, people would gather there, and it was just back in the day, they'd start telling stories and jokes, and stay up late into the night, just connecting in that way, which was really neat. I also loved some of the stories and history that I got told. There's a piece here that is the location of where my band actually had their first connection with meeting white people, and to know that we had that history, we had that location in our stories and our oral stories is crazy to me, because a lot of times that gets lost. So just kind of finding out different things like that, and then also learning about just the plants and the nature up there, and what you can use to eat, or stuff like that. So.
Did you take the trip with the intention of, creating art through photography, or did you just happen to take the pictures while you were there, and the idea of sort of building a showing come after?
I would say it came after. I take my camera everywhere with me when I go to different places. So I knew I was going to be taking photos. I also was taking photos for the band as just for them to have documentation of some of the activities that we were starting. So it was a mix of both capturing just people candidly doing and interacting with each other, as well as just moments that I really thought were beautiful. So
what's your favorite photo?
It's hard.
It's hard.
I have kind of three, which is the intro one, and then this one that's just behind you. This
one here? Or?
Yeah. Because there's some really interesting stories that go with them, and then also just the photo of my dad at the end. So yeah.
Oh, that's your dad.
That's my dad. Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. For me, this is my first exhibition. It's one of my first having artwork on display to public, besides doing some of my short documentary films that's been shown in small towns or theaters. So this is it was a really big step for me. Especially just writing everything out and having that with every photograph. I would say I'm compelled to bring all this to everybody and the thoughts and ideas that came with each photo. But I would also say that it is not in my nature, and it was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I like how you made the decision to physically write it as opposed to type it. It just feels more personal and genuine or something like that.
Yeah. So I typed everything on my phone and I like hand wrote it out. And then I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to read my writing, Shay. I'm like, should we look for some other like font as backup?
We had tried a few different of those handwriting fonts and stuff, and I had just, because I had all of her scans of her actual handwriting, and I was like, there's something so human about having her handwriting. I was like, I don't care if people are struggling with like a word here or a word there. I'm like, it's just part of the experience.
Right.
It's talking about storytelling. And I think having this handwritten part of it is a part of that process and a part of the experience of taking this exhibit in.
It's almost like pages from your journal.
Yeah.
And it's
It feels very organic.
I'm supposed to read this? Oh. So are you allowed to paint the space and make it kind of, are?
So according to our current agreement, yes, I am allowed to. I want to make less work for myself.
Totally, yeah. You mentioned that you've done documentary films.
Yeah, I'm just starting
Yeah.
to kind of break into that, yeah.
Is that, what are you more drawn towards between sort of filmmaking and photography, or is it sort of an equal draw with a different enjoyment from each thing, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think like with both, I just really love the storytelling aspect. So I've been doing photography for about 5 years now as like my business, but I just started to branch into film, and like I'm so excited. It feels like there's like a whole new door opening of different things that I can start to move towards. So I'm excited for both. I still love doing like photography, but I'm also excited to explore and start to do short documentary films. Mostly I really love doing documentary work because I like to focus on what people, like stories people want to tell. Even if like, say it's like a business they're passionate about or like a nonprofit or something like that, I love to just kind of share and start to bring some of their thoughts and stuff to the world. So
I can see why you guys are friends. Like you're both aligned quite nicely. Same morals and goals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you joined any film festivals yourself? Have you entered any?
I just entered my little 1-minute cinematography project this year for the Indigenous Film Festival here, but I am entering my short film for next year in March. Here.
In the Short Festival?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a fun festival.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Any other mediums that you dabble in, or is it exclusively sort of like photography and film, or like anything that you want to try that you haven't tried yet?
Yeah, it's exclusively probably photography and film. That's like my favorite. I would be open to doing like another exhibition or something like that in the future.
Sure.
Like this one kind of just came together. I don't have any like plans or thoughts for that right now, but I'm sure there'll be something in the future that comes along.
If someone can't make it to the gallery, is there someplace they can go to get an example or samples of your work? Do you have a website, Instagram, anything like that?
I have a website, GinaBussidorPhotography.com. I also have Instagram and Facebook, same thing, just under Gina Bussidor Photography. And I also believe Shay is thinking of putting some of the pieces online on her site with some of the write-ups as well as talks and conversations about that. So hopefully we'll get that kind of up and going as well.
And how long is the showing going to be up here at the gallery until?
Great question.
Yes, it's going into December.
And now it's your turn for some
Yes.
final thoughts, some final words.
Yes. I'm so thankful to, everyone involved in this. Gina for literally agreeing to do this. I know I put you through the ringer as this is your debut show, and I'm like, it's also the grand inaugural opening, and we're having
no big deal.
So much, there's so much media attention on it, and I'm gonna pull you in on an interview. No pressure though. If you want to say no, you can say no. If you don't, we're doing an interview right now. So I really appreciate how receptive you've been of this, and the fact that you're just okay, I'm just gonna do it. Let's do it. And once again, the work that you've done is so touching, and I cannot say this enough, and I don't even think I have the words for it, but to me, it's perfect. Like, as I mentioned, it's the feeling of the exhibition, it's the thought behind the work, it's everything about who you are as an artist and the journey that you've made and the decisions that we've made to put this together. It just fits the goals of what we want the space to be, which is accepting and open and a safe place to try new things and to be experimental and to make mistakes and to learn from them. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate all of the support that I have, the other artists who are chatting away in the next room.
Do you want to mention the people behind the scenes that have helped you, or?
Oh my God, the list is so long. Like, and of course, because on the spot, I can't think of a single person.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
But it's like my family has been there. Like, if it wasn't for their support, I don't think I would have been able to commit to doing something on this level, because this doesn't pay. In fact, I'm paying to open the gallery.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's a cost factor associated with that, and I'm grateful that I have a family that supports me, that I can actually do something as reckless as a new endeavor like this. My friends, my colleagues, the other arts practitioners in Kamloops that are being as supportive and as excited that there's an Indigenous art gallery. I've gotten so much feedback and mentorship and support from the other arts practitioners, and just being like, let me know how you can help, or like, here's how we did things, or here's our policy so that you can build your policy off of that. It's resource sharing.
Yeah.
It's, people like you who are taking the time out of your day to help spread the word. It takes a village. It really does. And I think, like, the number one question that people ask is like, oh, well, how can we support the gallery? Like, what is it that you need? And at this point, let people know, let your friends and family know that there is a new Indigenous art gallery and that it's here, and you can come in and check it out. Because Kamloops being word of mouth, it's like, that's what we need for people to figure out and to hear about this and to put it on the map, essentially, is that we need to be talking about it.
And speaking of the map, where are we located so people can find it?
This is located at 140 Laburnum Street on the North Shore. It is the side entrance to the building. We are in the process of fixing up the door and touching it up, making it look a little nicer. Very early on in the process, we're still getting signs and stuff made, but it's so you turn off Tronquil, you turn up Wood Street on Cherry Avenue, and then Laburnum Street is right there.
Are you still looking for donations? You got these lovely chairs.
I would probably float away from that right now, because I feel like, we're limited on space, but I also feel like we would get overwhelmed with people being like, ooh, do you need this? Do you need that? Because I already kind of got a little bit of that when I first put it out there. Because there was some, what I was calling creature comforts that I was hoping to get, like a Keurig, and like I needed a microwave and all of this. So I had put a little wish list online on my Facebook page, and the response was overwhelming. So I have everything for the creature comforts. Thank you all. No need to volunteer anything else.
For now, just focus on spreading the word.
Yes. For now, please just focus on spreading the word and letting people.
Thank you both for joining us today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and checking the gallery out. Before we go, just a reminder that if you want to stream with us, there should be a little QR code on the screen there, and it'll take you to a little questionnaire. You fill it out, and we'll be in touch if you want to stream with us. Once again, this has been On Location Kamloops. We've been at the Stínesten Gallery. I would have messed it up. I'm Todd Sullivan. That's Kelsey Bell behind the camera. We'll see you next time, everybody.